Hello everyone, this is Jordan, the 13th disciple. I come to you making this video pretty heavy-hearted. Just there's a problem. There's systemic racism, and I want to just get straight to the point. But the first thing I want to say is if I'm making this video to bring awareness, because not everyone apparently is aware of this problem, and they need to be. So if you have anything to contradict or talk against justifying this behavior, just please refrain from commenting. Please don't comment anything like, we don't know what George Floyd did, or we don't know what happened before. Don't comment Blue Lives Matter. This video is not meant for Blue Lives. This is meant for Black Lives Matter. And I'm not saying Blue Lives don't matter, but just please refrain from making any comments. I'm making this video to draw attention to the problem of systemic racism, because at the end of the day, what happened to George Floyd, no matter what he did before, is absolutely disgusting, because he was not fighting back, and even if he murdered someone before, it doesn't give the cop justification to kill him. He wasn't fighting, he was detained, he didn't have a gun, the police officer's life was not that threatened, so I don't want to hear it. So please, again, don't make any comments regarding justifying the behavior in any sense. Just know what happened to George Floyd is absolutely wrong, and it's consistently seen. The second thing I want to do is just to admit my own fault in the cause. I've never participated in any white supremacy or even to my knowledge, done anything directly to a black person in any racial kind of way. But what has happened is I've been scared to speak up. I've been scared of being judged from the black community because I say something wrong. And at the end of the day, we need to use our voices to change this problem. And I'll break it down on how I think one of the ways it can start to change. But I just want to apologize for my part in saying, not speaking up myself. Just because I'm white doesn't mean I can't speak to the problem that's in place, and I've just been too scared to in the past, afraid of being judged, and at the end of the day, I want to turn around, repent for that, and stand and make a stand now, and acknowledge that this is an extreme problem. So please hear me when I apologize. I aim to bring awareness to the situation and do my best to speak change into this problem. Here's the reality, guys. A lot of white people think that racism isn't that big of a deal. It's gone away. It's just not that big of a problem just because there's not slaves anymore or whatever that is. And maybe you live in an area, I live in California, it's to my understanding, it's not quite as bad as it would be in the South, right? And there's just some more intense racism down there. But that's completely false. Racism isn't just away. Guys, we're only 3 generations out from other humans owning other humans. 3 generations ago, white people owned black people. That is not that long ago. And if you think hurt doesn't transcend that far, you're mistaken, let alone the hurt that's happening today. Because at the end of the day, my white son could be walking down the street with his black best friend. And if they came across a cop, my white son has much higher odds of getting home than my the black son. And that's just completely ridiculous. That's systemic problem. There's just a systemic issue there. The system is wrong. It is just ingrained in people's heads. I have a black friend, really close to me, and I talked to him a lot about this stuff. And he came over to my house one day, and my niece was there, and she was a baby, and she was just eyeballing him. And he says to me, she's eyeballing me because I'm black, and she's just a baby. Like, she just sees something different, and it's immediately ingrained in our heads that something's wrong with that. Um, and that's just wrong. It's the system. We just naturally grow up. I mean, there's people that walk down the street and they see a few black guys and they immediately feel threatened and in danger. You don't even know the heart of that person. You don't even know the integrity of that man, and yet you're feeling danger. Why is that ingrained in our heads? Right? And I don't think that's something to judge yourself over. But here's the thing, here's what Black Lives Matter is saying, is we need to change that systemic issue. It's a systemic issue. You should not walk down the street, see someone of a different skin color, and judge them based off of it. There is beauty in what God created, and it's absolutely ridiculous that this is an issue to this day. And we need to draw awareness to it. So there's been some response even before to what I just said, that you see someone or a different skin color and you just judge them based off of it, and it may not be because you're necessarily trying to be racist, but that's just how it's ingrained in your head or how your culture is. But there's people that have tried to take an approach which is wrong in saying, trying to treat everyone the same and saying just because they're black doesn't mean they're different. Well, they are different, and we should embrace that. We shouldn't be colorblind. People say, oh my gosh, I'm colorblind. No, embrace the culture. They are different, but we shouldn't treat them different as human beings because they're different. And here's where the systemic problem is we treat them different because of their color, but rather than embracing it and being a part of the culture. So I think exposure is just huge. Expose yourself to the culture, expose your children to the culture. That way they don't see it as different and wrong. That's the systemic issue. Black culture and the way they look and the way they behave, there's nothing wrong with them. That is their culture. We should embrace that as white people. That is the core of the issue, is we don't embrace the culture. And there's not going to be a change to the system if we don't do something different. We have to change the system to change a systematic problem. So our system needs to shift from, as white people, not to avoid black people, not to avoid the culture, and it's to embrace it, experience it, expose yourself to it. If you have kids, expose them to it. Stop avoiding it because you're scared to speak, to be a part of it, or feel judged. Be bold. Be bold. Because at the end of the day, we as white people might not approach it perfectly, but at the end of the day, I feel like we're going to be understood because we try. I've had countless people thank me for just trying. Countless black people thank me for just trying, and they just want to be heard. That is the core of their heart. They want to feel understood and just heard as human beings just like us. So one of the things I think I had to grow through in this was not feeling accepted by the black community, even if I tried to embrace it. But here's the thing. When the systematic problem begins to be resolved, and it never will be perfectly, because there's always going to be racist people, there's always going to be just bad people, and it's just going to happen. But it's not going to be a systemic problem. So when the systemic problem starts to get fixed, and the black community starts to feel understood and welcomed and just accepted, I believe the black community is going to be even more accepting of everyone else than anyone ever. Why? Because they have had so much hurt, and yet they still chose to accept because they wanted to change a systematic problem so bad. So at the end of the day, I think the white community might feel unaccepted, but I'm going to suggest the black community is going to be very open to be accepting of you. Of course, there's going to be the select few that respond to sin with sin. At the end of the day, racism, I believe, is a sin, and quite naturally, I see people responding in sin. I would respond in sin. The only reason I feel like I recognize that is because I'm a Christian and I recognize that. But don't let your fears depict your decisions. So speak out, white people. Don't be fearful of what people might say. And if you say something wrong, don't worry about it. If people are going to hate on you, that's just the way it is. That's just life. There's people that do that. It's been happening to the black community forever. But be bold. I believe that when the black community feels accepted, they'll accept the white community just the same. They just want to be treated equal. White community, please step up, vocalize that this is not okay. It's absolutely not. What happened to George Floyd, absolutely ridiculous. What happened in a lot of other scenarios, absolutely ridiculous. The fact that a black kid can walk down the street and feel like he's in danger, that he's going to get arrested, that a cop could shoot him, when my white son can walk down the street and feel absolutely safe. Not okay. Just not okay. This is a huge systemic issue, and we need to, as the white community, take the step of faith and leap that we need to lead the charge as well. We need to hear the black community. If you don't know what to say, ask someone that's black. They'll guide you, they'll help you. Just do something. Staying silent is just not being bold, and I don't think even that's what God calls us to do. God calls us to be bold with our faith, but bold with our beliefs. And at the end of the day, Jesus stood for people that were not stood for. He stood with tax collectors, he stood with prostitutes, he stood with people that did horrible things. And the black community hasn't even done that, but Jesus would stand with the black community. I truly believe that. He stood with the brokenhearted. God is close to the brokenhearted. We need to take a stand and follow just what I believe we're called to be. So I need to speak directly to the white community right here. I think denial is wrong. Denying that this exists because it makes us feel good is wrong. When there's people hurting and we deny it, that's wrong. There's people in our church that's black, and the church is all about community, and the church is the people. The black community is a part of our church. They're a part of the church, and we're not caring for the church, and we deny that because they're hurting and we're not there for them. That's wrong. So by doing nothing and denying that it exists, or saying, oh my, it's better, or it's getting better, or at least there's not slaves anymore, that's just, it's not okay. Denial is wrong. But I also want to bring the opposite perspective of despair is also wrong. Because if we sit in our woe is me, this sucks that we have to deal with this, I'm so saddened that George Floyd got murdered like that, and we let despair take control of us and depict and paralyze us in depression or despair or whatever it is, I think that's also wrong. We need to be bold, white community. Speak. I'm going to say this a lot in the video. Don't be scared, fearful that you're going to say something wrong. I challenge the black community to be forgiving and see that the white community is trying. Please love us. In this video, I don't know if I'm going to say everything right, but I'm trying. And my goal is to bring awareness. And at the end of the day, the white community sees the issue, maybe we're too scared, maybe we're in denial, maybe we're in despair. I think I found myself in the despair and a little bit too fearful to speak out and fear of being judged, or I can't speak on the issue because I'm white. But that's wrong. And I'm doing my best to bring awareness and humble myself to acknowledge the pain that you guys experience towards the black community. And I never claim to understand it, but do know my heart goes out to you guys. I'm broken by the issue, and I want to see change. So here's my approach to changing it, and I encourage the white community, do something. Please do something. Make a video. You don't have to have YouTube. Do it on social media. Do something bold. So one of the last things I want to do that I feel led to do is just humble myself and take a knee for the cause. As a white male, I want to take a knee, humbling myself under my own privilege, humble myself, acknowledging the issue. And I would just encourage you, the white community, to participate in some way. Use whatever influence and platform you have to speak that this is not okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into downtown, not LA or anything like that, but downtown where I am at, and just take a knee in public. And I just want to make a public explanation that a white male is standing and humbling himself for the black community. I encourage you guys to do something. If you guys don't feel like you have a platform, send it to my email. I'll put it on my YouTube channel. I'll put it on my social media. Send a picture of you taking a knee. Send a video of you speaking about what you want to do. Do something to vocalize that this is not okay. If you believe it's not okay, do something. If you're fearful about how to word things, or you don't know how to word things, maybe try what I'm doing and take a knee. Just do something and support. Just show your love for the black community. I'm trying my best. Hopefully it has an impact on someone. If you want something put on to my YouTube channel, as long as I agree with it, and support to raise awareness, I'll put it on there. You can email it to Jordan at the13thdisciple.com or .com. I mean Jordan the 13th disciple at gmail.com. Apologize. I'll put that in the description below as well. Please show your support. Comment something. Give the video a thumb up if you think you appreciate what I'm doing and trying to raise awareness. Putting a thumbs up, commenting, sharing, it's going to help this reach people. Hopefully it can have an impact. I know I'm just trying to pour my heart out. And I may not be doing everything right. And I don't understand everything that people go through. I'm just trying. So please try with me. Love you, black community, specifically. I love you. Please, I pray that you find rest and assurance in God and His affirmation that He loves you just the same as He loves me, a white privileged male.